so much for joining. My name is Janine, also known as Graeae Horror. I'm delighted to welcome my latest interviewee, Richard Williams, the writer-director of new indie horror feature Deadeyes, which has its UK premiere at FrightFest on the 28th of August. Hi, Richard. Thank you for joining. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Good morning from Australia. Good evening from Australia. I'll be there soon. So very, very keen.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I know life must be frantic in the build up to your premiere here in London. Can I ask, first of all, for those who are attending Fright Fest and are interested in checking out Deadeyes, can you give us a bit of a spoiler-free overview on what the film is about?
Well, it's probably best to sort of start where what it is first, because it's not found footage. It's a POV, from within the character's head style film, which, I don't know if it's been done in horror before, but, the only other thing is Hardcore Henry is probably the closest thing, but this is straight horror. So if you're looking at it, it's like if you're a fan of video games, if you're a fan of found footage, but find it, the graininess and the shaky cam too much. Well, this doesn't have shaky cam. It's a cinema camera, shooting from within someone's head. We got. I called up Nolan and we got the IMAX and we put it on top of someone's head. That's how it worked. If we want to get into it.
Yeah, casually just drop Nolan a text and be like, "Hey, dude, yeah, can I borrow?" Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
This Aussie indie film really wants to make a camera operator a couple of feet shorter. So,
and it's honestly such a welcome style change for me. I'm a huge found footage fan, mockumentary fan. I think the closest thing I've seen recently was Body Cam that came out on Shudder at the beginning of the year. But again, it's that shaky kind of style that doesn't hit with everybody in the genre. Can you talk to us why you opted for that style of filmmaking for Deadeyes?
Well, it's one of those things. It's like the only way to sort of tell this story, being able to get in this character's head. I think, with found footage, one of the big things is you can't see what the character's thinking, what the character's hearing. You can't see their dreams, hallucinations, and this film sort of plays a lot with that. It plays with that sort of, you can't trust what the main character sees at points, and that plays on that fear. So yeah, and I'm sort of shocked it hasn't been done before in this sort of way. When you consider how scary it is, where you can't look away. There's the old saying that when you cut a film, it's like taking a breath. And I felt like I wanted the whole movie for the audience to be holding their breath. I mean, there's obviously parts where you have to gasp and stuff, but and look, it's, as a horror video game lover, it goes sort of hand in hand with my love for cinema.
And now I can see that influence so strongly after watching it and then speaking with you and finding out that you are a horror gamer. Like, that screams in every pore of this film. And it is, like you were saying, it's one of those you can't take your eyes away. This isn't a made for Netflix where you can scroll and you're half paying attention. You blink and you miss so much in this. Can you speak to how you managed to pack so much action story into an 82-minute runtime?
Well, that was, it's one of the things when you are writing and directing and producing your own film, you really have a concise idea of what exactly you want to be seen on footage and on film. And as well, you don't want to be shooting stuff that's not going to make the final cut or that's going to, tire an audience. And it comes with the format. When you can't cut, you have to be basically breakneck, because, long takes, like the new audiences these days, they can't hack long movies, like the boring movies. And, I never wanted it to be that way, getting like trudged down and, exposition. And, I wanted everything to come with a certain sense of action. And yeah, I wasn't afraid to, make these actors and this crew work through this forest, and we're moving all the time, and keeping these set pieces going. And yeah, I'm glad you think that it's a very, very tight movie. You're not going to get bored of it, and I think it conveys its full story so concisely, which is great.
Yeah, I had the fortunate opportunity to see a screener of this yesterday, a few days before the UK premiere. And I have to say, I was blown away. Didn't know very much. I've seen a little bit from the press run and the build up, but purposely didn't look at anything and was really surprised, as you say, at such a breakneck speed for this film. You're kind of settled in the first 5 minutes, and then it's relentless. And it's unlike anything I've seen in genre for a while because of that POV style. And then you've got the pacing of it, which is really fun. Can you talk to us a little bit about what it means to you to have a UK premiere at FrightFest?
Well, I'd been targeting FrightFest for a few projects before, and to be playing in Leicester Square, which is so cool. An opportunity also to stay in. I'm staying in Soho. I've got a very, very small apartment in Soho, but any opportunity to get over to London as an Australian, it's like there are more Australians there than here.
Yes.
But I love genre festivals, and having gone to a few with Deadeyes already, just the way genre audiences react to horror, it's just like it's such a wild fandom where it's almost like it's like Star Wars fans eat, drink, breathe Star Wars. Horror fans eat, breathe, drink horror. Like, that's the best way to tell someone who doesn't understand it. It's like, it's that sort of fandom, and it's so beautiful. And talking to people about the most niche horror films, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's always really funny as well. The one thing I find is that we could watch the most depraved film, but be the most welcoming, heartwarming community. It's really funny. It's such a weird balance.
Well, like, there's some horrible stuff in Deadeyes, but people come up to me and go, haha, that's great. I love it. And I love the homage or something, they'll see it. I'll be like, yeah, it's a very heavy movie, and there's some very scary stuff in it, but it's treated completely opposite. It's great.
Yeah, there are some practicals that I really want to mention, but I want to keep it spoiler free ahead of the premiere. But there's a couple of props in particular that are hanging in. I just can't really describe it without spoiling it, but I really want to dig into you about it. But maybe another time we can touch base and get into the nitty gritty of how you created some of these. What are you hoping that audiences take away from the film?
I honestly want audiences to be hungry for more films in the format, because I think it's so untapped, and I just think it's a great way of approaching filmmaking. Obviously, it's very, very hard to do. The whole process was, from writing to directing, it was tough. But now that we've worked it out, I'm like, I'm hungry to sort of do more of it, and blending that. Just not, I want them to go in with an open mind, because if you go into it with that sort of restricted traditionalist cinema sort of mindset, you're not going to jive for it, at least to start with. I mean, we work into it. It's not balls to the wall straight away, but yeah, I want people to be open-minded and come out hungry for more, because it is a cool format.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's definitely one that you should see blind, as it were. Not know as little as possible about it to not ruin anything. What has the reaction been to screening so far?
Oh, mate, the best one I got was at Boa in Brazil, where one of the scares, and I think you might know the scare, I was sitting on the same row as this group of people, and the whole row shook. The actual, like, the bound seating rattled back when it happened. I was like, that is...
Yes, that's what you want, isn't it? You want either, like, that laughter where people are trying to so scared they have to get an emotion out, or that visceral fear. If it's silent,
Yeah.
you know you've done something wrong, so that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
I agree. I agree. But yeah, no, that's the thing. That goes with that as well. They're a great horror audience as well. So the questions after it were amazing, like getting to talk about things that I wouldn't usually talk about with the film with standard movie fans.
you find the balance between writing the screenplay and then directing the feature?
So I much prefer to write and direct. I think one of the main roles of a director that's oddly not talked about enough is just having complete oversight of the story, of the script, of everyone's character's motives, and being able to communicate that to the crew, to the actors, because no one has the oversight you do. And being a writer is like a cheat code to that sort of oversight. So you have the film in your head, and all you need to do as a director is just translate that to everyone else. So it's really like the producing side, which adds a layer of just garbage to the role. It's just so much work on top, which is where you sort of overextend yourself. But no, I love writing, directing, and it's the drive is to do more of it, and be in front of these actors and talk to these amazing people and have a crew of amazing people who are professionals around you, which really, lift you up.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned the actors as well. The cast in Deadeyes really do shine so strongly in their roles. How did you approach the casting process for this film?
Well, I mean, if you go on larger budget films, they have a casting director, and I was like, no, I'm going to do that,
Yeah.
which I didn't realize how much work that is. Yeah, I think I watched about 1,000 tapes, and that's no exaggeration. I
Oh
got to
my
1,000
goodness.
tapes. And so they sort of came to me. It was weird, and I'm so grateful because couldn't think of anyone else in these roles, and they're people who are, how hard it is to do an 8-minute long, take that goes through multiple locations, and you have to sort of work out blocking. They're such pros that I would get to the 7th minute of this take and they would position themselves perfectly, and I wouldn't have had to have told them. I mean, they're all going to me like, you don't give that too much direction. I'm like, well, I don't need to. You guys are so good. I mean, and Misha Haywood, who plays Lily,
Yeah.
man, what a gun. She's doing amazing things in this film, and I think she was 14 or 15.
It's
We're not
insane.
talented, hey.
Yeah, it's insane. So they're definitely on my, to watch list. And if she doesn't do more in genre, I will be shocked, because she's
Yes.
definitely like up there. For me, she gave like an Indie Navarro kind of a performance. You couldn't keep your eyes off of her.
Yeah,
She was wonderful. So, so good.
that's high
Um,
praise. Wow.
and Deadeyes packs some really serious punches with some scares in this. Can you talk us through some of the effects and your vision for the look for those moments?
Well, one of the things that I had to sort of figure out going in is one of the big things with horror movies is you can cut and you can get a scare in there, with effects, with VFX, with pracs. You can cut and sort of, you know, do the whole, hide everything in the cut. But in this, you couldn't do that. So I had to sort of look at other ways and other formats, and which was where video games came in. That was one of the big things, where that sleight of hand in video games is a huge thing, where you go through one door and something appears when you go back there, and it's not in frame prior. And that takes a lot of coordination with a crew and your practical effects guys. I didn't want to go into it doing any like as little VFX as possible. Really, it was only just to sort of augment stuff. And yeah, so like looking at video games, looking at actual internet horror, is one of the big things that sort of inspired this, because that's the only other POV horror I could really find. You know, those sort of TikTok videos where someone's walking through their house, or the classic there was that viral video, which is the car ad, which has the jump scare.
Oh,
That was one of
yes.
the, yeah. I use that as a bit of a reference for one of the scares. So, yeah, just a whole bunch of things. It was hard to look at traditional horror movies, funnily enough, for it.
And again, that
The creature
resonates.
design, though.
Yeah.
Sorry. But creature design, though, that's where I looked at traditional horror movies. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that it really resonates. Now, again, knowing that you're a gamer, a lot of it makes more sense in the way that you've set up some of those key pivotal moments. The character will walk into a room and there'll be something out of nowhere, and you're like, you've got to set that up ready in real time to go to capture the moment. And that speaks volumes to you, to have the creativity to know in advance that you're planning in that style. And it leans really well to the way that the film was created. So I have to give you kudos for that, because it's really, really well done, really effective.
Thank you.
So I also particularly love the sound design in Deadeyes. How important is that for you as a filmmaker, and how did you approach that?
I honestly think it's like 50% of of any film is sound design. It's crazy how much it affects you. When I went into it, obviously, you know, we couldn't do a traditional score, so it was working with these sort of eerie, off-putting tones, things that would sort of hit you in that spot in your brain where you go, I'm feeling uncomfortable here. And then also working heavily with that Australian nature, those unnatural sounds of night. Well, I mean, unnatural for, you know, people who don't live here, who go out and they're like, well, yeah, exactly. Like, what the hell is that? Is that a demon? Is that a banshee? No, it's just a bird. It's a bird like this big.
It's just a kookaburra. You'll be fine, you know.
Cool. It's a new thing. I didn't realize kookaburras were terrifying for people, but yeah,
they are.
That sounds like home. Yeah.
Okay, and what are your favorite memories from the production of Deadeyes?
Oh, mate. Oh, it's surviving it. No, there's a couple of scenes. There was one where it was on a pickup, and it wasn't even on a pickup. Middle of the shoot, I'd looked at what we had, and I thought, you know what, there needs to be a moment here with Misha. And that night I wrote out a page of dialogue and gave it to her that night. The next day, she does 6 perfect takes of it, and I'm behind the monitor going, this is unbelievable. Like, this is going from like doing it the night before and seeing that converted into films in front of you. And seeing it done so well, and just on that sort of level, it was, brilliant.
That's really, really good to hear. And are there any lessons you learned from this production that you'll take into future projects?
One of the big things was like too much blood is still not enough blood. You always go more blood, like always, no matter what. I mean, we had a bit of a blood emergency where we sort of ran out of blood, and we were like, okay, I know, how bad is that?
Shocking.
In a horror movie like this. So, you know, and we figured out, you know, our amazing props and set designers. They had tricks of making blood, a bit of sugar syrup and beetroot and all of that. So we send people out to raid the local stores, and but more blood. And, you know, that goes along with just learning how to basically shoot this POV style. You know, we've got a guy with a the sensor of the camera on his head, which is about 5 kilos. And then that's wired to another guy with the body of the camera on his back. And, there's the guy doing the voice for Sean's character who's also there, and coordinating them. Meanwhile, having the crew out of sight on these 360-degree shots.
Wow.
I mean, there's stuff in there which is just, I still don't know how we managed to pull it off. It is so hard. I mean, getting through a door, down a ladder, into a car, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
With all that rigging and a cord that if you break it, it's like, 30 grand or something silly like that, So it was, it's good to know we're capable of doing it.
Definitely. And do you think you'll be venturing back into this POV style again for your next projects?
Well, I was honestly, after it, I was like, I'm so ready to shoot traditionally again and, shoot coverage. But in that time, I've already formulated a sort of anthological sequel to it, set more in a haunted house, which I feel, dark corners sort of lend themselves to that POV style. And, that there's always, I've played so much Resident Evil since, and I'm like, all these mansions. So I'm kind of, I will be looking at doing another one for sure.
That's good to know. That's really good. I'm so excited. We'll definitely have to follow your journey and see what comes next. Can you tell us a little bit about your filmmaking and creative journey to this point?
Of course. So I've always wanted to be a director. My mum will tell you since I was 6 or 5, actually. So I don't think I knew what being a director was back then. I think I thought it had something to do with, if I knew how to direct, I knew how to get into the world of Pokemon. But since then, I've sort of figured it out along the way. I did a lot of work in commercial television commercials, and that's soul sucking. I hate it so much. And then I just sort of took the dive into my own feature a few years ago, my first feature, White Blood. And that was very much a sort of a very macabre sort of drama thriller. You could call it, had tones of horror in it. And after doing that, I just thought, I don't know why I was sort of skirting around horror there. I just needed to go full-fledged in it. It's a beautiful movie, but my biggest regrets in it is like it should have been way scarier and way more disturbing.
That's always the ethos. More blood, more fear, always.
Yes. It's a good cut. Yes.
Yeah. And where do you find inspiration for your stories?
It's a tough one. Like sometimes it's dreams, like things that disturb me in my dreams, and just delving into my sort of like I don't get scared much, but things that like I sort of try and force myself to be scared of, like dig deep and deeper into my own subconscious. That's sort of where a lot of things come from. There's an interesting one. There's this story for Deadeyes and another screenplay I wrote. It all started from an image I saw when I was a little kid of a book cover, and it's a little girl followed by a ghostly dog in a thunderstorm, and it sort of like stuck with me as this ghostly little girl for so long until I've written two. It's sort of split into one straight ghost story and Deadeyes. So it's weird how things in your subconscious sort of come out like that. Yeah. But also the environment. I mean, like Australia has such spooky, places. The place I grew up, the Deadeyes is very close to where I grew up. So I had sort of that sort of inspiration.
No, that's really good that you're familiar with the locale, so you didn't really have to do a recce or anything. You just kind of knew in your head, this is where I'm going to shoot.
Yeah, indie production, man. You can save money on that.
Yeah, good shout, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. And obviously, you're a fan of genre. What is your first horror memory?
Oh, geez, I know exactly what that is. That's watching The Mummy when I was a little too young. I think I would have been, what was it, 2001, so I would have been 7 or 8. And
Aging me here,
seeing
don't mind
the
me.
shit, sorry,
It's all right.
horror experience.
Yeah.
But the seeing the scarab go into their enemy's head, my God, and him running around, seeing the scarab go into his brain, and
Skin. Yeah.
that scared. What happened to like action movies and adventure movies being terrifying? What happened to that? That used to be so much scarier. I mean, it's that you can't have an action movie without real threat. And that is something that is so missing from modern action adventure movies now. They're so weightless. I want to see actual horror.
Yeah,
That's why we all have nostalgia for it.
yeah, I think the closest thing I had was, if you've seen The End of Oak Street yet, it's very coded as a modern day Jurassic Park, but the threat in that for me was the dog. And I had to do the doesthedogdie.com kind of check if he survives before watching it. And then you know that everyone out there, it's the only spoiler I'll ever give for the film, he does survive, but the whole time that is the biggest peril in the film, and you're like, I'm not okay. Yeah. This is not all right, you know.
I think dogs are pretty well untouchable in films. That's the thing now. I think there's very little threat of anyone you care about in movies dying, and well, okay, all right.
Yeah, there's a lot of dog death in horror. There is a lot, and cats now, unfortunately.
Oh, true. Actually, the worst. I don't know if you've seen.
Scare. It's an easy scare, isn't it, for people? They just kill the pet, and you're like, no, why?
Oh. Cats get a lot. It's like cats and spiders don't go along.
No.
I feel like I've seen two movies where the cat has been killed by the spider. Eight-Legged Freaks and Key Roach Turner's new one.
Yes. Yeah, I've just seen that as well, and it's terrifying. And also, of course, like Vermine as well did it. They killed the little dog in Vermine. Terrifying. Yeah, that's not okay. Yeah, sorry. If you like Sebastian Vanasek, we love Sebastian, but please leave the dogs alone. That's 2 now, Sebastian. That's 2 you've killed a dog. I'm not happy.
Now I know. Stay away from the dogs. Yeah, yes, I wouldn't have the balls to do it. Also, you have to agree to work with an animal as well, just to kill them off. It's like, if I'm doing this, the animal's going to save the day at the end.
Yeah. No, they have to. I have to. And do you have a favorite film score? And if so, what is it?
It can't go past the work Howard Shore did on The Lord of the Rings. I mean, that is
beautiful.
The motifs he had for each character and each object and location, and blending them all together. Like I think the greatest thing I've ever heard is the Fellowship theme, when they all slowly build up. Everyone's got their own instruments and their own sort of layers to it, and then after the breaking of the Fellowship, it all swells and dissipates, and then after that they don't get it again. And then each character, you get Aragorn's king theme, and they blend it into the ring theme. It is so complex and so beautiful. And that was my thing with the Odyssey. I was like, no, I don't care the way you're going. You need a traditional score. Like, I don't care this new age stuff. A traditional score is so important.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's such an emotional score as well. It really is emotive. It takes you right back to that first time seeing it in cinemas. It's wonderful. I'm obsessed.
Yeah. And then, look, if you know it when it's not there, You know,
Mm.
it's like it's 50% of the movie. I mean, you see like things that go back to Middle Earth that don't quite have the same score. It's like, why am I not feeling the same way? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely lacking in Rings of Power, unfortunately. They tried, but it's not quite the
I
same.
didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it.
No,
Some people love it,
I'm
but
afraid. I'm not afraid. That's fine. I'll die on that hill. It's just not the same.
I hate it so much.
Oh,
It's
I don't
yeah,
mind. I don't hate Rings of Power. I just know it's a very different beast. I see what they're trying to do, but it doesn't have the same impact. And I think it's going to be impossible
yeah.
to replicate it, unfortunately. But there we are.
Of course.
Mm.
It's just a bit
Um,
cynical for me, and I think everything after Lord of the Rings is a bit cynical, unfortunately.
that all of that. Great. And then I have a last few questions to round off. So if you were to screen a double feature in your local cinema of two films for us to get to know you, which two films are you showing?
Okay. Uh, so there would be two. I'd do two
Hmm.
versions.
Yeah.
One to like do my extremes. I do I do come irreversible, then come and see on my one extreme. So people would be like,
See how.
this guy,
Love that. Love that. I love
and then I
Irreversible
do.
so much.
Uh, I think it's I think it is. It's just the most amazing movie that I'll never ever recommend to anyone to watch. But if I'm doing screenings,
Yeah,
they're stuck there.
exactly.
I'd also like to be in the theaters for people like in both movies to be like, "Fuck, what the hell am I watching? You, I
Yeah,
hate you so much."
yeah,
But it is important. It's very, very important cinema. Challenging cinema is important cinema. So I love that.
yeah,
And then the other side would be The Fall, Tarsum Singh,
yeah.
and Cold War, which are
Oh,
two like very beautiful movies that are like they're the opposite side, like the most cinematic, beautiful films, and make you cry at the end. So yeah,
yeah.
they're my
Yeah,
two
I
streams.
th I
Some
think
people, oh, sorry.
I was going to say I think we'd start with the latter two and then send them home really miserable. Yeah,
I,
wonderful.
I think yeah, you're sort of miserable in both, but in
Yeah,
different ways.
yeah, yeah. That's so funny. Um, okay, and you're obviously traveling to the UK for the Deadeyes UK premiere. Are there any other films you're excited to check out at Fright Fest?
Um, I have a actual recommendation
Hmm.
for people because I've seen this film prior, and it's Compliance. And I met the directors, and it is a balls to the wall film. It is so freaking crazy. So that's a different one. That's a recommendation. And I think I've missed out on the main screen films because I didn't get in time, unfortunately. But I'll be sampling all the second and third screen films where I'm showing there as well. I think what is it the Crab Point film? I keep missing it at all the film festivals. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Yeah,
But
that's not a problem.
yes, but Compliance, balls to the wall. I recommend it.
Excellent. Also, that's been top of my list for a little while as well. I'm insanely excited to check it out, and I'm glad to hear good things. So that's good. Um, and
Yes.
then where can people check out Dead Eyes after the UK premiere? Do you have any other festival screenings?
So we're actually looking at a US release coming up in. It's unofficial yet. It's coming up in late October, hopefully,
Mhm.
and followed by an Australian release, and followed hopefully by a UK release. But before then, yes. But before then, we might have some unofficial festivals that I can't announce.
Okay.
So,
it's exciting.
yeah, there's a few. There's one in Poland, if that gives any sort of hint, and then there's a couple in maybe Canada, maybe the US, but I can't announce.
No, we can't. No, that's fine. We get it. No problem. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Richard, for taking the time to speak with me today. It's been an absolute joy. And I'm so excited to see the reaction from everyone at FrightFest for the screening of Deadeyes. Everyone watching at home, if you are going to FrightFest, please do make the time. If you can get into the screening, it's screening at the UK premiere on the 28th of August. Thank you ever so much again. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching.